Good afternoon. So we are on lesson 9 today in unit 2 of our phonics program. And today is supposed to be Thursday, October 29th, but I just found out that we don't have school on Thursday. So I guess this will be for Friday, hopefully. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a little bit differently today. We're starting something new. Instead of the mix it up, we're doing something else called something with blocks, building blocks, something like that. But we're going to use the board for it today. So I needed to make sure that I've used my board. So I'm going to switch over to the board so you can see it. Okay, so we are on lesson 9 of unit 2 today. All right, so our new activity is called playing with blocks, okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding and substituting and deleting sounds to make new words or to generate new words. So in all of words that we have, there are sound chunks that we hear. For example, when we are in, when we hear the word at and splat and mat and matter, and the words like twin and winter, you can hear the word in, okay? So in this activity, we're going to be using sound chunks to build new words, all right? So the first word that we're going to build is the word, I'm sorry, it's not really a word that we're going to start with. We're going to start with a sound, okay? We're going to start with the sound oak, oak. And when I hear that, I hear a long O sound, and I hear K. So I hear oak. Let me switch to make sure. I'm going to see if you guys can see this. Okay, so you can see this one. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to think, how many sounds do you hear in oak? I hear 2 sounds. I hear the O and K, oak. So I hear 2 sounds in that one, okay? What is the vowel sound in oak? The vowel sound that I hear is the O, all right? So now I want you to add a j at the beginning of that word. J. So now it becomes joke, joke. Okay. Now remember, guys, this is what we hear. This is not the proper spelling, okay? This is what we are hearing. I hear the sounds j, o in that word. So now I want to add to the end of a word. Now I have joke, How many syllables are in the word joker? Joker. Remember to do your chin. Joker. So I have 2 syllables. The first syllable is joke. The second syllable is Where do you hear the O, oak, in the first syllable? Joke. See, if we break our syllable apart, joke. The oak part is at the end of the first syllable. Okay, so we're going to go back to just oak. All right, so now I want to put sp at the front of it. Sp. So what's my new word? If I have sp, oak, what's my new word? It is spoke. Good. But now I want to change it. Instead of having SP, I want to have CL. So oak. What's my new word? Oak. Oak. My new word is cloak. So can you guys think of any other words that have oak in them? I can think of, you guys think of any other words? Spoke, cloak. Can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know there are plenty, I just can't think of them because I'm on the spot right now. All right, so we're gonna do another one. Okay, so the next sound is similar, but this time it's going to say awk. Awk, not oak this time. Awk, say that with me. Awk. So how many sounds do you hear in awk? Awk. Awk. I hear two sounds. Awk. Awk. I hear the O, aw, and the k sound. Awk. So what is the vowel in the sound awk? It is the O. Good. So we're going to add st to the front. Awk. Awk. So what's my new word? Awk. Stock. Good. We get the word stop. Remember, guys, this is not about spelling. This is about the sounds you're hearing. Okay. I want to add the suffix ing to the end of this word now. Ing. Stock. Ing. Stock. Ing. What's my new word? Stocking. Good. Stocking. All right, let's go back to just awk. All right. I want to add to the beginning. What's my word? Rock. Rock. What's my word? It is rock. Good. Now we're going to add a suffix at the end. We're going to add et. Et. Rock. Et. Rock. Et. What's my new word? Rocket. Good. Good. What other words can you guys think of that end with "-ok"? I could think of some this time. What about sock or clock or talk, like TikTok, or knock, like you knock on the door? Good. Think of some other words that end with "-ok". Good. Okay. So now we are going to do our words. Okay. So we're going to manipulate our phonemes. So our first word, our first sentence is, Anaya loves to eat crispy fries. So our word on the curve is fries. Fries. So if we break this apart, the onset is the fur part, and the rhyme the eyes, fries. So I want to change this now. I don't want it to say I want it to say full eyes, full eyes. So my new word on the curve is flies, flies. Good. Next sentence. Jenny wore her hair in braids. 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 The onset part is the brr, and the rhyming part is aids. Braids. Good. I want to change the I don't want it to say anymore. I want to say bullades. blades. So the new word on the curve is blades. Let me fix my camera. It's a little crooked and it's bothering me. That's better. Okay. All right. Next sentence is skip down the street to get some ice cream. Skip. Skip. Skip is the word on the curve. The onset part is the sk, and the rhyming part is ip. Sk, ip. I don't want it to say k anymore though. I want it to say l, sl, ip, slip. So my new word on the curve is slip, slip. Good. Next word, Marcus loved his green shirt. Green, green. The onset part of this word is the grr, and the rhyming part is ing, green. I don't want the R part though anymore. I want it to say ol, glean, glean. So my new word on the curve is glean, glean. Notice guys, it's EA here. EA together also says E. All right, our last one is be careful not to spill the juice. Spill, spill, spill is the word on the curve. The onset part of this word is the sp, sp, and the rhyming part is ill, sp, ill is the word on the curve. To change the p, p sound though, and I want it to say ill, ill. So the new word on the curve is skill, skill. All right, time for our spoonerisms. Just like yesterday, this one's a little difficult, okay? Because it's not just the first letter anymore. One of these words, you have to use two letters. So here it is. Tush your breath. Tush your breath. I'll give you a few seconds to think about it, and then I will show it to you. Tush your breath. Tush your breath. What do you guys think it should be? It should be brush your teeth. This time we used the BR instead of just the B. So it should have been brush your teeth. Good job. So our learning targets for today are, I can read and use quotation marks in sentences. And I can participate in a close reading of the story, The Hare and the Hedgehog. So there are these special punctuation marks that we use when writing to show that a person is speaking. And we have been learning about them so far in Module 2, and they are called quotation marks. Quotation marks. Quotation marks show that the reader exactly what a person has said during a conversation or during dialogue. So when there is a conversation between characters in a story, we use quotation marks to show what each person said. So I want you to remember that when we are practicing dialogue aloud, we're going to cup our hands around our mouth to represent where quotation marks will go in a sentence. So let's practice. We're going to practice cupping our hands, okay? So I'm going to read a few sentences out loud, okay? So the sentence is, I need to make sure you can see me. Oh, sorry, good. Let me turn my computer around. Okay, so the sentence is, James said, I like to sing. What part did James say? I like to sing. So James said, I like to sing. Let's try another one. So the quotations would go around, I like to sing. Okay, how about this one? This one says, everybody see me? Raj said, let's eat lunch. Put that together. Raj said, let's eat lunch. So where do the quotation marks go, guys? Where would they go? They would go around, let's eat lunch. Good. All right, so we are going to practice marking written dialogue with quotation marks now. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question for, like, example, what is your favorite sport? And you are going to, you're going to tell me. Hold on one second, I'm going to get Caitlin to help me. Caitlin. Look, it even looks like her. Come on, hurry. So I'm going to ask Caitlin the question. Come here, hurry. Okay. Caitlin, what is your sport?
Basketball.
Okay. And a whole sentence, please.
My favorite sport is basketball.
Okay, so that is the part that Caitlin said. So if I'm writing this down somewhere, I would write it like this. Let me make sure you can see it. Okay, so remember, we always put a comma before we put the, and what is it that Caitlin said? Let's use our hands. What did Caitlin say? My favorite sport is basketball. So where do we put the quotation marks? Around what she actually said. And remember, the punctuation mark goes inside. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to use a different color to show you. We have the comma here. Okay. The comma goes before the quotation marks. The quotation marks go around what Caitlin actually said. And our punctuation, our period, goes inside quotations. Okay, so Caitlin said, my favorite sport is basketball. So we use our hands to show the actual quote that she said. Okay, I'm gonna zoom back out. Okay, so speech bubbles are used to show the words a person says or said in the past. So comma tells us to pause, and the comma comes before the quotation marks. And the quotation marks tell us exactly what this person said. So Ryan said, I like to swim. So the end punctuation is inside the quotation marks. Ryan said, I like to swim. See how we have a comma before the quotation and the period goes inside the quotations. The first word of the sentence and the first word in the quotation marks is also capitalized. All right, so we're going to do a couple of sentences. Okay. So the first one is, I like to play ball, said Juan. Okay, so I'm going to use my colors again. That Juan actually said. Juan said, I like to play ball. So we need to put our quotation marks around what he said. Okay. Now, Juan made a complete sentence. So we need to have a period inside the quotation marks. I want you to see the difference between when said Juan is at the end or when it says Juan said. There is a difference. Okay, so in this one, Juan said, we put our comma here. Then we have our quotation marks. I like to play ball. But then we need our period at the end. Okay, do you see the difference? This one has a comma after said. This one does not. So depending on where it says Juan said or said Juan, it depends on, makes it decide whether or not they have a comma or not in that sentence. I know quotation marks are hard to get a grip on. That's why we're going to keep practicing, okay? So we're going to look at the worksheet that you have for work tonight. Okay. Oops. So Jane said, I will sell this milk. So we need to put Jane said, then a comma. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It says said Jane. So we're not going to do that. So we need to put quotation marks. I will sell this milk. And then period, because that's the end of her sentence. Quotation marks, said Jane. I will sell this milk, said Jane. The next one is, when the sun is down, it's bedtime. This is what his dad said. So we need to put quotation marks. That's the end of his sentence, so it needs a period. And then we need our Quotations again, said Mike's dad. Okay, so you are actually going to do this tonight on your own, okay? We just did it together. So you're going to do it tonight on your own. So. Okay, let's get back to our. All right, it's time to wiggle, 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 wiggle. Show me your best wiggles. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. All right, tug on one sleeve. Tug on a sleeve, guys. Tug on your sleeve. All right, now sit in a seat. Sit in a seat. And now act like you're sweeping up a mess. Sweep up a mess. Okay, wiggle back to your seats, guys. Wiggle on back to those seats. Okay, so we have a new story today called The Hare and the Hedgehog. And some of you may have already read the story, The Tortoise and the Hare. I know some of us did in first grade, but this is somewhat similar, okay? So this is a story where characters are two animals. We have a hedgehog and we have a hare. So before we start, I need to give you some information about a hedgehog. Okay, hedgehogs are small mammals. You guys have been studying about mammals with Miss Stockwell in science. They are mammals with spines or spikes all over their bodies. Hedgehogs have short legs and will roll into a tight ball if they feel like they are in danger. Look how tiny those little legs are. That's mostly feet. A hare is also called a jackrabbit. They are bigger than rabbits, however, and they build their homes above ground. They have much bigger ears than rabbits. They are also very fast. So this is another trickster tale. In a trickster tale, one character usually is clever and tricks another character. So in this story, it involves a race between the hedgehog, which is an animal with short legs, and the hare, which is a very fast animal with long legs. So just like I said, some of you may have heard the story, The Tortoise and the Hare before, okay? And based on the plot of The Tortoise and the Hare, I want you guys to think about what do you think is going to happen in this story, The Tortoise and the Hare? So I think just like in the story that I have heard before about the turtle and the rabbit, the hare is going to be overly confident and think that he's going to win so easily. So he's going to like do something silly, like lay down or take a nap or do something. And then the tortoise, or like the turtle in the other version, is going to keep working hard and doing his best, and he's going to pass the hare and win the race. So the tortoise and the hedgehog are similar because the hare is the same character. It's the same type of character. The difference between this one is that we have hedgehog and not a tortoise. So before we start, let's review some of our spellings. We have talked about OW and OU and how they both say ow. And we've talked about OI and OY this week and how they both say oi. Here are some words that we are going to have in our story. We're going to have the word join, point, enjoy, frowned, how, house, south, and out. Can you guys show me what it looks like to frown? Can you make a frown face, frowny face? Yeah, to frown means the opposite of smiling. It means your smile is upside down, so it's a frown. It means you're unhappy. So I want you to watch carefully for those new spellings that we have learned. And if you need to use your individual code chart when reading, if you need to upload it, you can go ahead and, download it. Go ahead and use that if you need to. Okay. All right. So we are going to get started with the story. Oops, sorry. All right, so here we go, the hare and the hedgehog. I'm gonna make it smaller so we can see the whole page at one time. So here's our cover of our book, Bedtime Tales. And then, oops. Here is our table of contents. And here is chapter 5, The Hare and the Hedgehog, and it starts on page 34. Good. All right, so the hare and the hedgehog. Mike and his dad sat on the bed. Did you like the tale of the jumping frog? Mike's dad asked. Yes, said Mike. I liked how Pete tricked Jim by feeding his frogs the limes. Then I think you will like this next tale as well. It involves a trick too. The name of this one is The Hare and the Hedgehog. What's a hare? It's like a rabbit. Okay, tell it. Once there was a hare who was proud of his speed. He liked to brag. I'm so fast, he said. I am the fastest. No one is as fast as me. Well, the hedgehog got sick of all this bragging. He set himself to thinking how he could trick the hare and get him to stop bragging all the time. The hedgehog made a plan. He went to the hare and said, "Let's race." The hare smiled. "You and I?" he said. "Is this a joke? What would be the point? Those legs of yours are like stumps. It must take you from sunrise until sundown to hike a mile." "Will you join me in a race?" said the hedgehog. "I will join you," said the hare. "Good," said the hedgehog. "We will race south from this fence up to the house on the hill. But I can't race till I have my lunch. I'll be back at 1. Oops. Then the hedgehog went home and spoke to his wife. "Wife," he said, "at 1 I will run a race with the hare." "What?" said his wife. She frowned and asked, "Are you out of your wits? He's so fast. You can't hope to win a race with him." "Trust me," said the hedgehog. "I have a plan." "What's his plan?" asked Mike. "I will tell you next time," said his dad. "Well, rats," said Mike. It was just getting good. I wish you could just tell me now." "Next time," said his dad. Okay, so let's think about some questions before we look at your worksheet for today. Okay, what is it that the hare liked to brag about? He liked to brag about how fast he was and how speedy he was. So who were the characters in the story? In the trickster tale story? Okay, we have the hare and the hedgehog, and there at the very end, the hedgehog's wife became a character. So let's look at, you're going to do this page for homework tonight. Okay, so you have 3 questions to answer. Why was the hare proud? So guys, remember, you're going to circle your choice. You have to tell me the page it came from, okay? Don't just leave that blank because that'll count a point against you. What did the hedgehog ask the hare to do after lunch? And then here's the new part. You're going to tell the plot of this tale with 3 to 4 sentences. You're going to write and tell me so far what is happening in this trickster tale about the hedgehog and the hare, okay? So you're going to use your text box so that you can type and tell me the plot, what is happening so far in this story. All right. Okay, so remember you have a spelling test in our next meeting, whether it's Friday or Monday, I'm not sure. Make sure you're studying your spelling words for that spelling test, okay? Before we go, I want to show you one more thing. So for part of your work tonight, okay, so this is the part that we did together, but you're going to do it on your own. I want to make sure that you were listening. You have another one of these, okay? It's 2 pages. You are going to look at the picture. Okay, what is this a picture of? I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so this is a picture of a house. We need to spell the word house. Well, I know when I think about the word house, the first sound I hear is so that's an H, okay? So the next sound I hear is ow. We've talked about these 2 sounds recently. Which one of these says ow? It's the O-U. Huh, ow. Which one of these says s? The S-E part. So then on the line, I'm going to write the word house. Okay, you understand so far? The next one is a picture of a mouse. I know my first sound is ow. Which one of these says ow? The O-U, ow. It's going to be the S-E again, so I'm going to write the word mouse. Okay, so that's what you're going to do on that paper. Now these are all together. Please do not just do the first one and then leave the others blank. So we did this one together. You're going to do this on your own, but then there are 2 more pages, okay? We have house, mouse, howl, towel, crown, coins, sleep, shelf, broom, and crowd, okay? So let me show you for your work today. So today is phonics. Oops, hold on. Phonics week 2. Okay, so here it says Thursday, Phonics workbook. Click on it. Everything that you need for phonics is in here for today. Here's the story, the hare and the hedgehog. Here are the questions that go with the story. And then here are those 3 workbook pages. All right. Okay. So one more thing. A lot of people are saying that they are watching the video, but they are not. And I know that they are not. So I'm giving you a secret word. Okay. So the secret word is pumpkin. So at some point on the video in your Google Classroom, where you can leave a comment to me on the assignment, on the video assignment, I just want you to write the word pumpkin. Just tell me pumpkin, so I know that you watched the video all the way to the end. And it's not always going to be at the end. Sometimes I'll put the secret word in the middle of the video. Okay, so you have to be listening. That way I know if you really watched it or not. Okay, so I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Make sure you get all your work done. If we don't have school tomorrow because of flooding, or today because of flooding, then make sure that you're catching up on all your work. Okay, get all your work done for this week. All right, and I'll see you later. Bye. Stay safe.